What's up, everybody? We're Dingers with the boys. That's boys with a Z. We're back this week. I'm Tim. I'm here with, he might as well be a psychic as of late with his players and his game picks. He's been on fire. You know him as Kyle, though.
Yeah, yo, what up, everybody? Thanks, Tim, for the fire introduction, as always. We got a lot to talk about this week. Probably the biggest sport event coming up, Super Bowl next Sunday.
Of the year, really.
Yeah.
Super Bowl is just so fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's not even just the game, just the whole week leading up, and then you're wanting to see the different commercials. One of those are coming out. So even if you don't watch football, people are watching the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah. It's become basically a holiday for Americans all across the United States, really maybe even across the world, who knows, but
I think the Super Bowl, if I remember correctly, I read something a couple of years ago that most pizza is consumed on Super Bowl Sunday. Every single...
I would believe pizza, wings, beer.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Seriously, just across, I don't know how it is in other countries, but definitely the U.S., you said, it's almost a holiday. Really quick, I got my Broncos World Champion 1998 ring on, the back-to-back. So, show a video of that. Let's see here. Got my baby. We got it on. So, too bad the Broncos aren't there this year. We got the 49ers and the Chiefs. That is this next Sunday, February 11th. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah, rematch from, was it 2020?
2020, yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it should be a good game. This 49ers team is a lot different, though.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest difference from 2020 is Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
Arguably the best player in the game today.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless of offense, defense, whatever position, Christian McCaffrey gets it done week in, week out, just on the ground, and honestly receiving too.
Yep.
He's just great. He gets in the end zone.
Yeah, and I still don't understand how the 49ers got him for pretty cheap for what they got. It was, I'm pretty sure, a trade, but that trade, Carolina Panthers, suck.
I'm trying to think of what it was for. Was it even for a first round draft pick?
I don't know, because it was before Christian McCaffrey had really.
He was still a stud.
He was still a stud, but he hasn't, it seemed like he's elevated his game tenfold.
Well, I think it helps because it's not just on him, though.
Yeah.
And so they have so many other, they have Ayuk
weapons,
and Purdy's playing great and everything, too. Yep. But I think that helps. But he was still a stud. And I think it was a 3rd and 5th round draft pick or something like that. Yeah. Maybe a player.
Yeah, I don't know for sure. I'd have to look it up. We probably should have looked it up before.
Yeah, that's all right.
Starting to record, but oh well. But bringing up Brock Purdy real quick, something really funny actually happened. I don't know if you saw it.
Mm-mm.
So Cam Newton came out and was basically ragging on Brock Purdy, which is kind of what the whole NFL world has been doing. But Cam Newton came out and said that Brock Purdy is probably the 10th best player on his team. And then Brock Purdy came back in retaliation and said, yeah, I might be the 10th best player on my team, but I know there's 90 active quarterbacks in the league right now, and he's not one of them. So
that's a comeback there. That is gold. Do you know if Cam Newton ever said anything?
I haven't seen anything that he's came back with.
What do you say?
I guess you just got to tip your hat and say, yeah, you're right.
Yep. It's funny, too, because who cares if he's the 10th best? Hey, he's going to the Super Bowl. He's got a very good chance. I'm pretty sure they're the favorites, too, by 2 or 3 points.
Yeah.
Which isn't huge, but they've got a great chance to be world champions.
Yeah.
And so
I certainly hope so. I don't want to see the Chiefs win again, but
I'm so sick of the Chiefs. And it's not even being a Broncos fan. Maybe it is a little bit, but it's just every single year. You think they're not going to do great, and then they're not doing great during the regular season, and they turn it on, get in the playoffs, and then just destroy people in the playoffs.
I will say I think this has been Patrick Mahomes' maybe most impressive playoff run, just because this was the first time that he hadn't had home field advantage all through the playoffs. So this was the first time where he has had to do it on the road, and he did it not once but twice.
Yeah.
And then versus Baltimore, they looked dominant.
Yep.
I mean, they kind of went cold there in the second half, but they completely shut down Baltimore and made them play a different game than what they've been doing all season. So.
Yeah. Well, like you said, they went into Baltimore. Yeah. They went into Buffalo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Into Buffalo, and that was the cold game. That's right. Yep. That was the really cold game. And so they go into both those places, which a lot of people thought those were going to be like the top two championships, or champion possibles. And so it's kind of just like crazy. Yeah, it's very impressive by him. I'm just sick of it, And
yeah, I think like it just is getting repetitive almost. Which I mean, you can't. It's nobody's fault. It's not like the NFL is scripting this. Like, I don't think so anyway. Yeah. But
being if we were Chiefs fans,
we'd love
I'd be loving every single minute of this. It's just like, especially that people did count you out this year. And like, you can count us out. It doesn't really matter. We're still going to the show.
We're still here.
We're going for the Super Bowl. But I'm excited to see in Vegas if they how the halftime show is. I mean, that's the city of entertainment and everything, and just if there's something just an extra flair to it, because Vegas always does it bigger and better. It seems like with the
especially because I don't know, there's so much hype around Vegas right now. They're becoming the sports capital of the world, really. So I think this is a very fitting time to have a Super Bowl here, and it's going to be exciting. I think Usher is going to play the halftime.
Which I loved him when I was younger, so that'll be fun.
I'm interested. Is Taylor Swift going to make an appearance?
It's funny because she's probably, right now at least, the biggest musician in the world.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you like her, dislike her, you got to agree, she is huge right now. She's going to be there and not performing.
Yeah.
That's where it's man, that's kind of crazy.
Well, it's kind of understandable that Taylor Swift has never performed at halftime.
Well, she got invited to this year. She turned it down this year, which that would have been really crazy.
Yeah.
If her and Kelsey were together and then she was performing at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Would he come out instead of going back into the halftime and cheer her on?
I'm sure the Chiefs would have never allowed that, but I think the reason why Taylor Swift hasn't done halftime is because I don't think she really needs it. Mm-hmm. Halftime performances, I'm pretty sure they don't get paid for it. It's all about exposure and basically it's a lot of artists that they're not on tour or they're about to get ready to go on tour and they're just trying to create a buzz before. So it's Taylor Swift doesn't need that. She's already mastered the PR game. She's mastered social media. She doesn't need something like the Super Bowl to bring buzz around her. So I think that could be a reason, but
because we were just saying, Super Bowl's probably, at least in America, is the biggest sporting event in the world.
Yeah.
Now, other Europeans and stuff saying soccer, some of those could be definitely bigger,
Yeah.
But in the U.S., I would say that's definitely the biggest. Maybe the Olympics and stuff like that, but this greatest single day, greatest single event. And it's crazy to think that these entertainers come to kind of do a buzz, and it's man, this is kind of some of the biggest that they might play in front of. Well, Taylor Swift plays in front of crazy amounts.
Yeah, she sells out NFL stadiums.
Do you think it's going to affect Travis Kelce? Because I think it might have affected his game this year, just as a whole, kind of with all the buzz.
I think at first it did, but it seemed like he's got used to it now.
Especially in the playoffs. He's been back to regular Travis Kelce, it seems.
Because in the middle of the season, he was dipping. He wasn't. This is the first year where he hasn't had 1,000-yard receiving year, and I don't even know how long. Yeah. So it's that was very shocking. He didn't have as many touchdowns as he usually does. So, his play was kind of dipping. And, I mean, the only thing that was really different was Taylor Swift. And a lot of media and a lot of people were saying it could be because of Taylor Swift. But now come playoffs, it's that's completely flipped. So,
well, I
think
know
he's
there was
figured
like
it out.
some speculation that there's a chance he could retire because those tight ends get hurt so
Yeah.
much. There's so much. They're big guys. There's so
Yeah.
much like stuff on their
Yeah, they're
bodies.
getting hit all the
But-
time.
Did you see after the AFC Championship? He's talking to Mahomes. He's like, "Man, this feels good. He never gets old." He's like, "I feel great. I could do this 10 more years."
Yeah.
And it's like, man, could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Especially being a Broncos fan, having Kelsey and Mahomes for even
Yeah,
5 more years. It's like, I hope not.
I mean, Mahomes is super young still
Mhm.
too, so yeah, I could see it, but it will be interesting. Like, I know Jason Kelsey, Travis' brother, was talking about retirement, but now like he's kind of came back and said that it'll be
thinking about
really
it.
tough to retire when Travis is going to the Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah.
that'll be really tough to kind of hang
I know
up my
he wants,
cleats,
he
but
wants to get back there.
which I was starting to think that's like, all right, well, if Jason retires, I could now see Travis thinking about retirement
Yeah.
because in years past, Travis has always been like a single dude, like he kind of just plays like himself, like,
yeah.
and now with his relationship with Taylor Swift, like,
I think it helps, though,
looks
that-
kind of serious.
I
But
think
like,
it helps, though, that she's such a just global star that she's gone a lot as well. But
yeah.
But overall, how do you think the game's gonna like be played? Do you think it's gonna be a close one? Do you think it's gonna be just a blowout one way or another?
I think the winner is gonna have to come from behind. I think whoever is winning at halftime, I think will lose.
Interesting.
That's my prediction.
All right, what if it's tied? Is it
I mean, if it's tied, then
somebody scores
the next
like,
score will be the loser.
okay,
I think the winner of this Super Bowl is gonna have to do it from behind.
interesting.
That's my prediction.
I could see McCaffrey like breaking some records, possibly in like yardage and
I could
stuff like
see it.
that. Just the way he is his first Super Bowl and the way
Yeah.
he's been like kind of playing. I think he has 4 touchdowns in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I think so.
And sometimes I'm like watching not the Giants, San Francisco Giants. I'm thinking of I'm watching the 49ers play, and I'm like, man, you could just give it to McCaffrey every single time, even if they
And
knew
you'd
that they were
probably
going
be
to.
good.
You're
Yeah.
gonna get probably first
Yeah.
downs, or more than not, you're gonna probably get first
Yeah.
downs. And it's nice to see a Colorado boy kind of like
Yeah.
kicking butt, you know.
Yeah, I remember watching McCaffrey when he was in high school. He went to Valor Christian High School, and
Mhm.
my high school, we were always good. We always made it to the state like championships or state playoffs, and we'd always come across Valor and get just demolished. And it'd be Christian McCaffrey. He'd have like 300 yards, both rushing and receiving, and it's like it's not even fair.
It's crazy that you say that because I used to coach basketball, you know, and when I coached basketball, we coached against his team a few times.
Yeah,
And it was in middle school when I was coaching against him. It was 7th and 8th grade. I think we played against him maybe 4 times total or 5 times total. And I thought he was going to dunk the ball a couple times. And I'm like, man, everybody's talking about how good at football
Yeah.
this kid is. And I'm like, I think he can make the NBA the way he's playing right now. And
Yeah.
like, obviously, like it's like more years and stuff, but it was just like, man, he just knew the game. He like
Oh, yeah.
passed, scored, did everything. And like I said, I thought there was a couple times he's coming up, and I was like, this kid's about to slam it, man. And I was just like, I was kind of excited. My claim to fame, though, I got him called on a free throw violation. His toe was over, and I was like telling the rest, I was like, hey, look at that, and they called it on him, and so that's my
funny.
claim to fame. You know,
That's
it's
funny.
Christian McCaffrey.
that's funny right there.
Yeah, but that's an interesting take. I think it's definitely going to be a close game. I could see it coming from behind. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. I think it'll definitely come down
Yeah,
to the fourth quarter and kind of, which I like. I'd rather it be that, especially with not a team kind of really in the fight. I'd like the 49ers to win, but
yeah.
it's not like it's that big of a deal
Well,
to me.
Especially like just looking at these two teams, it would be shocking if it was a blowout. Or I feel like even if a team wins by more than 7, or even 7, really, I
Yeah.
think that would be shocking. Like, I really just think like with how good these teams are, it's gonna be close. Like, it's gonna come down to the wire. I'll go into one of my players real quick because we're kind of talking about it because it will be a Super Bowl player. But I'm going to highlight Christian McCaffrey. Like, you guys know I highlight 2 players every single episode, and I've been on fire lately. Like, everyone I talk to seems to
just go off,
do really well. But I'm going to highlight Christian McCaffrey this week. Let me pull up my notes on him real quick. So he's got 8 touchdowns in his last 5 games, 6 rushing, 2 receiving. And I think the 49ers got to attack this Chiefs defense with the run game.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are allowing 4.5 yards per carry, which is the 8th worst in the NFL. But they've only allowed 10 touchdowns on the ground. So
all year?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
rushing anyway.
Yeah. That's interesting.
But yeah, so it seems like they definitely lock things up in the red zone. But Christian McCaffrey, he's got a nose for the end zone. So
he doesn't need the red zone either.
Yeah,
So
he can score from outside the 20 all the time. So I think CMC also has 5.7 yards per carry over the last 5 games. And he's done okay against the Chiefs. He's only played them twice. He did play them in 2020, but that game was... This team was drastically different. So I'm not really looking at his past games versus the Chiefs anyway. But
he is with it's just a complete new team and everything.
Yeah. I think, but yeah, if 49ers are going to win, it's going to be because of CMC having 2+ touchdowns.
Brock Purdy needs to just take care of the ball.
Yeah, don't turn the ball over.
You don't have to do craziness. Just take care of the ball. There's so much news this week, too, with the Super Bowl coming up, and we could talk about different Super Bowl stuff, but there's definitely some big stuff also happening in other sports in the sport world. Doc Rivers, who's coached 3 games for the Milwaukee Bucks, he's a new coach for the Milwaukee Bucks. He's coached 3 games. He's only won 1. That was against Dallas. He's got beat by Portland and the Nuggets. Is now the coach of the East All-Stars.
Yeah, I was shocked by that.
Well, and it's off of record. Boston, so it's the first place in each conference that coaching staff goes.
Yeah.
Boston was last year, so they were out of it. Well, Milwaukee's now second. I think Cleveland is third, but now they can't catch them. So no matter what they are, and it's just funny to me that he really didn't do anything for this team. And he's actually 1-2 with this team.
Yeah, he hasn't looked good.
But they're like, oh yeah, man, you're the Eastern Conference coaching staff. It's Doc Rivers and the whole coaching staff.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of new people. And so it's just kind of funny to me that he's just he's almost given this oh man, you've done such a great job, which it hasn't been anything with him. It hasn't been anything with him. So I wish that the NBA would make a new rule, and maybe they will. But if you have coached less than 10 games or something, it's got to go to the next.
I'd even be okay if they say, even if the 2 best coaches are both Western Conference, those are your coaches. I would be even fine if it was Minnesota and OKC's coach. Because obviously
both
Malone can't be it again.
Yeah, Malone can't.
But yeah.
It's just interesting. Sticking with it, the basketball world, Caitlin Clark plays for Iowa. She's 66 points away from breaking the all-time scoring record for college. Mm-hmm. It's held by Kelsey Plum right now. And this is not just women's. This is men and women. She could technically do it next game. I mean, she scores a lot of points. She could get 66. I don't think it'll happen. I think it'll happen probably in 2 games. But what a college career for Caitlin Clark.
I can't wait until she's in the WNBA as well, because I think seeing her with Breanna Stewart and Asia Wilson, I think it's going to be so much fun. But
it'll be fun to watch her play against them, too, is she going to be able to score like this? Yeah. Because right now, she is Iowa.
Yep.
If they take her out, it's rough, But she's just so fun to watch, and she's so passionate. And I'm excited for the next level as well. I think she's going to be a star immediately out of the gate. Now, I don't know if she's going to be like a top, like Brianna Stewart kind of thing, like maybe like not top 2, 3, 4 or something. But I think she could be an all-star this first year for sure.
I think she could average 20 points a game.
Oh, for sure. Well, and the way she shoots, I mean, she's shooting from the logo and everything.
Yeah.
So it's not like she's just right on the line or just getting a lot of twos. She's shooting great from outside, which I feel like in the WNBA currently, there's really not somebody shooting like that. It's almost like a Steph Curry. Like, you got Anasko, who's a great three-point shooter. Yeah. However, she's not going so far back where you have to guard her 5, 6, 7 feet outside the three-point line.
Yeah. Caitlin Clark is actually my second player, so I'll bring up some stuff about her as well and what I think she's going to do in the next week. But, yeah, like Tim said, she's 66 points away from breaking the scoring record. Her next 3 opponents are Penn State, Nebraska, and Michigan. I don't think she's going to get it the next game versus Penn State just because they're a little bit peskier of a defense.
66 is a lot of points, too.
And, 66 is a lot. But I definitely think she has a really good chance against Nebraska. I can still see her scoring 30-plus against Penn State. And I actually can see her getting a triple-double in that game as well. She's had, the last time she played them, she had, I think, 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 14 assists. So I definitely think, like, she's at least going to get 10-plus assists.
Yeah.
But I think she could get a triple-double.
I think she's going to be in 40 points, too. Yeah. I think she's going to score more than that.
Like, I think definitely versus Nebraska, especially if she's close, she's going to be trying for it.
She's not going to wait. Do you know if that's a home game?
So Nebraska is away. So I could, I was kind of flirting with maybe waiting first Michigan, but...
Is Penn State a home game?
No.
So her next 2
are away. Yeah.
Interesting.
But I think Nebraska is not a very good defense, and she's scored against them a lot more. So
the university wants her to hopefully get maybe 30 points and 32 or something like that, something like that.
But just I'm trying to think of how the game is going to go. I think she's going to be really close to that number, and I think she's going to try to all right, let's just go for it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you never know what's going to happen too. She could get hurt or something.
But she's definitely going to break the record. But she's my next player to highlight.
It's exciting to see. And with her going to the WNBA, there's been a lot of talk lately that a WNBA team, like the top WNBA team, so let's say the Las Vegas Aces, would get beat by a good high school team.
Yeah.
High school boys team. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The only thing that the WNBA has against them is probably weight and maybe some height.
Yeah.
Especially the guards, because the guards in WNBA are definitely a little shorter. Yeah. And I'm not saying just like Ralston Valley or anything like that, or Urbana West, Thunder Ridge, Valor, whatever, any Colorado schools. This is I'm saying even a top team, those guards are usually bigger, and then the weight. However, these are professional athletes.
Exactly.
And that is their job to play. And in a good high school team, they shoot a lot and stuff, but if a WNBA player is getting open, pretty much they're probably going to make it.
Yeah.
And I think the WNBA would beat them. And I know there's been a lot of people that have came out and said that as well. Yeah. But I don't even know why people are bringing this up, really.
Yeah.
Because it's never going to happen.
Yeah, it's never going to happen. And it's almost just you're taking a shot at the WNBA when I don't think they really deserve that.
Yeah.
But, I don't even think it's going to be close. I think a WNBA team wins by 10-plus easily.
Oh, yeah.
Probably even more than that. Mm-hmm. So I did
scrubs in at that.
To look into it a little bit more. I looked at the number one basketball high school team in the nation, the Columbus Basketball Explorers. They've got Carlos Boozer's sons, Cameron and Caden, and then Jason Richardson's sons, Jackson and Jace. And they averaged 77.4 points per game on 53% shooting and 34% from 3. All good numbers. But the Aces last year averaged 92.8 points per game on 48.6% shooting and 37% from three. So shooting pretty much the same, but again, they're going against professional athletes. High school players are going against other high schoolers that may not even make college.
Yeah, so, and there might be a matchup that a men's team could exploit. However, every single WNBA player is a great player, and not every single high school boys player team.
Yeah,
you're not telling me all 5 players are just complete studs either.
Yeah,
usually it's like, you got good players, but I think the WNBA would just
and then even the height thing. So that Columbus team, their tallest is Boozer's son, who's 6'10", which that would be a big
but A'ja Wilson. I don't know exactly how tall
she is. She's 6'4".
Is she?
Yeah.
I thought she was bigger.
I thought she was bigger too, but when I looked it up, it said she was 6'4". But the Aces, they have 5 players under 6 feet. This Columbus team has 3.
Yeah.
So they're a little bit taller, but
the only thing that's really helping is probably maybe a little on defense, but the rebounds. It honestly almost makes me mad.
Yeah.
That somebody is bringing this up.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's almost disrespecting them. It's why? Is it because you're so frustrated that the WNBA is starting to get a lot more fans and a lot more exposure and everything like that? So it's you just don't want the women's sport to grow?
Yeah.
It drives me crazy, especially having a daughter now. It would drive me crazy before, but especially having a daughter, it's dude, you want this stuff to evolve.
Exactly.
Where it's you're trying to take a step back.
Yeah.
And whereas this is never going to happen. So why are you even bringing it up? I know you want to talk and stuff, but it's what made you want to bring that up? And it's just, I don't know. It honestly gets my blood boiling a little bit, you know, just because it's just, you don't need that in society.
Yeah.
With so much stuff going on, it's just dude, be happy for the women's game, how much it's came. And Caitlin Clark is, everybody knows who she is right now. 10 years ago, you couldn't tell a lot of different women's players, let alone WNBA, college, whatever, And she's just put the world on notice. And, it's just, like I said, it's a little frustrating to me.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah. But let's take a break right here, just so I don't say something I'm going to regret.
Yeah.
Let's just take a little break, and we'll be back here in a minute. It's Dingers with the boys. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, and Twitter. Go give us a follow.
Yeah, like Tim said, if you like the videos that we're putting out, definitely go follow and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. But let's just get back to the show.
We're back. We're Dingers with the boys, as you already know. We just talked about the Super Bowl, a lot of other stuff, but there's also another huge thing going on in the sports world this week, especially for me and you. Yep. This is what we live for, Thursday's a huge day. It's also a holiday for me and you, I feel like. I know what I'm going to be doing Thursday, but it is the NBA trade deadline.
Yep. It's going to be huge. There's so many rumors going around right now. So many players that me and Tim both think could get traded. We've been kind of going back and forth with it all week, kind of getting used to or getting ready for the episode. But
it's funny because with the trade deadline, every single year, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And even if I think the Nuggets are going to make a splash, if I don't think they're going to do anything, it's just so exciting to me. And I know in years past, I just have Twitter just completely just re-updating every single time. And so I'm seeing that right when it happens.
Yep.
And last year, a lot of trades. However, it was the year of the seconds.
Oh, yeah.
People were getting, I can't remember who it was, but somebody got traded for 5 second-round draft picks.
Yeah. Even something similar happened this year already. Houston gave up 3 second-round picks for Steven Adams.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and so is it going to be? Is that going to be a future thing? Because a lot more second-round players are starting to get a lot more playing time.
Yeah.
The biggest one, obviously, Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
He was a 41st pick overall, 2-time MVP. Very good chance to get a third MVP this year, and world champion and everything. But I think those second round picks, it's not just like a throwaway almost anymore.
Yeah. You got to do your research, yeah. Which especially like looking at college basketball this year already, there's been so many upsets.
Oh.
It's like those teams that are upsetting the top teams, those are second round picks possibly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you got to look and see, okay, how is this team beating this top juggernaut?
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, you definitely those second round picks are a lot more valuable than I feel like were 10, 15 years ago. And especially with the international players. There's so many more international players coming over, and in this draft, it could be 15 in the first round, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get back to the trade deadline. So you got a lot of buyers, sellers. I think the biggest one, which news just came out, Zach LaVine is most likely down for the season.
Yep.
I think the Bulls could be huge sellers in this. And I think they could have been before, but now I think this could change everything for them.
I'm going to disagree, just because I think before, yes, I totally believe that. But now how the Eastern Conference is kind of shaking up, I don't think the Bulls make really any moves. The only moves I can maybe see them doing is Alex Caruso and Andre Drummond, but I don't see that happening just because...
You don't think DeRozan or LaVine's going to get traded?
I don't think so.
Because even with LaVine out for the year, he still has 3 years, $138 million left on. Pretty much, I feel like the Bulls have told people, "Hey, if you want that, take it. Like if you want that contract." I think that DeRozan is a huge person on the trade block this year. So I think the Bulls are going to be very active.
I'm not disagreeing with you that those
You're
players,
disagreeing with me.
I'm not. I agree that those players are on the block. I don't think there's going to be a deal, though. I don't think, because if there was going to be a deal, it would have happened already.
Well, do you think they're asking too much, or do you just think that it's just
I don't know. I especially think with now LaVine being hurt, you never know how a player's going to come back after an injury, after a surgery. I think LaVine's value has tanked.
Oh, for sure.
For his contract and how much it is, the Bulls are going to need a lot.
Well, it's interesting to see
he's going to get that much.
If somebody would take LaVine's contract with, say, they add a first-round draft pick or something like that with it. I don't know if they would do that because I think they want a first-round back.
I think the only teams that would be willing to do that are teams that can be in contention, but not this year.
Yeah.
And I think those teams being Memphis or I don't even know, I don't even know. Memphis is the only team that really comes to mind that, all right, John Morant got hurt, Desmond Bain got hurt, Smart got hurt, everybody has got hurt, so this year's a wash. Let's just plan for next year.
Yeah.
But
I think DeRozan's gone, though. I think he's getting traded. I think a lot of contenders want DeRozan. I can see him going to the Lakers or Miami Heat. I think those two teams, we'll see. I mean, sometimes there's all these rumors and all this talk, and people are like, oh, yeah, this guy's definitely getting traded, and then there's one or two trades or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Like I said, I think DeRozan is a big trade piece for them because I think he can make a huge impact on the right team. And so I think that's going to happen. I know we've talked about Dejounte Murray from the Hawks. Yep. I think he's another big one that can be linked to a few different teams.
Yep.
Mainly, I also think the Lakers are going to try to go after him, maybe trade D'Angelo Russell. It's kind of crazy because Dejounte Murray just signed a 4-year extension for $120 million.
Yep.
And so he's getting about $30 million a year, and you'd have him under contract for a while. I could see the Lakers trading D'Angelo Russell for him. He has a player option this summer, and so even if he picks that up, you could get in some cap issues, or you could just see him walk for nothing as well. Yeah. And so I think they might want to try to get that. Maybe throw a first-round pick or something like that. Maybe some other players. I think the Lakers are one of the biggest buyers in this.
Yeah.
You don't want to ruin or waste some LeBron years,
Yep.
There was a lot of talks that LeBron might have wanted to get traded or they were wanting him, but I know his agent came out and said, no, we don't want that.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if he'd get traded because he's always said he wants to play with his son. Well, if his son does come out this year, he goes to whatever team, Well, he's got a player option this year, and so I think he really wants that freedom. Whereas if you're trading for LeBron, you don't want him just for this year.
Yeah.
Like, you want him at least the next year.
You don't want him until he retires.
Pretty much, or at least a few years, like, depending, because you'd have to give up quite a bit. I mean, I know he's old and everything, but you'd have to give up quite a bit still for him.
Yeah. So. I think DeJounte Murray, I think that's going to be the biggest trade of this deadline, just because.
Do you think he's gone for sure?
I think he's gone. Because, I mean, Atlanta is still in that playoff hunt with him, but I've kind of said it for a few years now that I don't think him and Trae Young really work that well together. I think originally, they thought they were going to be this 1-2 duo that
when he got traded there, that and then they had Clint Capella as well. I was like, man, the Hawks are but it's
said, it hasn't happened. Mm-hmm. So I think he's gone. I think he's gone for sure.
Do you have a team?
If I had to pick a team, it would probably be the Lakers, just because that is the team that I know wants him the most, and has actually made offers for him. But I think they tried it, didn't pan out. I think he's going to be gone.
Yeah, and when he was with the Spurs, he was an all-star, and he was almost averaging a triple-double. He was great across. Part of me thinks that, like, man, the Spurs would love him back, like him and Wemby. I don't think they will trade for him back, but like, because he's a young guy, and like they could have really built something with like him and Wemby. However, they might not have gotten Wemby then. Like, they might have won a few more games. So you never know what's going to happen. But.
Which I don't know, like if DeJounte Murray really changes that team that much.
The Spurs?
No, like if he gets traded to the Lakers.
Oh.
Like, I don't know if that really makes the Lakers that much better. It honestly depends, like, obviously, who they give up. Probably D'Lo.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even D'Lo, though, like, he's had games where he, like
plays great.
Plays great. He was a big reason why they beat Boston. Like, him and Austin Reeves, which Austin Reeves has been in trade rumors.
They, like, value him so much. So, and it's funny because it's almost like Caruso's doing okay in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay? He's not, like, as much hype and, like, wasn't doing as good as he was in, like, the Lakers.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, dude, when you play with these top players like LeBron, even if you like him, dislike him, he is a top player. When you play with some of these top players, you're going to look better.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I know Davis and LeBron weren't playing against Boston.
Yeah.
Reeves killed it. Like you said, he had a very, like, he was a big reason. But I don't see him doing that on another team.
Like, I don't see it happening on a nightly basis.
Yeah, day in, day out. And so I think that, especially like right now, they could get a pretty good return for him.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
That could help them, I think, in the future. Yeah. I don't think they're going to trade him.
I think that could be a very bad trade for another another team if they do bite on Austin Reeves. But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'm totally wrong, and Austin Reeves does get traded to another team and starts dominating. But who knows?
We'll see. Another team that is very interesting going into the trade deadline now, and this is like more in the last week, is the 76ers.
Yep.
Embiid, who knows how long he's going to be out. There has been reports that he tore his meniscus, but then that was retracted.
Yeah.
Might only be out for a few games. Regardless, that could be a very interesting team to like watch. Because obviously, like, honestly, I think they have two players that they will not trade. It's Embiid and Maxey.
Yep.
I could see them trading every single other player.
Good.
I don't think they need to, but I could see them like Tobias Harris and stuff. I think they actually gel pretty well, and those guys don't get mad when Embiid takes 30 shots or whatever, you know? And so with Embiid's injury, I think that could be it could go either way with them.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, they could be like, hey, let's trade some stuff now if Embiid's hurt, because without Embiid, you're not a title contender.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, as much as, like, 76ers fans might say, like, oh, no, like, we still can, like, do something.
You know.
You're not a title contender.
Yeah.
Like, it's serious. Like, you'll make playoffs, but there's absolutely no way you're going to win the championship without Embiid. And so maybe it's like, let's, like, maybe get a draft pick or something like that
Yeah.
to try to like kind of bolster around Embiid and Maxey for future years.
I'm glad you kind of brought up the 76ers because I know, like, going into this year, this offseason, I thought the 76ers were one of the biggest losers of the offseason because they had a ton of cap space, and I thought they were going to go get someone big. I thought they'd get, like, Van Vliet or Kuzma or someone big, and then they just didn't. They didn't get really anybody. So it was kind of a shocker to me, but then you come around the trade deadline, and you still have all that cap space, and they can also get rid of Tobias Harris, who's, I think, overpaid. But
And at one
another
time, he
like
was a great player.
another trade rumor that I have seen is a player like Kyle Kuzma again. Like, I think Kyle Kuzma could be a good fit in the 76ers, especially with Embiid out. That's another offensive weapon that he can kind of side saddle with Maxey. Do the 76ers do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how the money would work. I'd have to go and play with
That's a
my
whole
like
nother-
trade machines and see, but
that's a whole.
yeah, I think like I could see the 76ers being big buyers because of this injury to Embiid, because they're maybe I could see him trading a little desperately because all right, now Embiid is out, and if there is a chance that he's back during playoffs, maybe we want that player that we think can bring us into like the Eastern Conference Finals or the finals or win a like championship. So I could see them being huge buyers. Who knows what will happen? Another team I want to bring up is Golden State Warriors. I think they're going to be big trade like people, but
Dude, I'm so glad you brought that team up because they're such a wild card this year. They're 12th in the West, which with the payroll that they have one of the highest payrolls in the NBA this year. The players, not even just the payroll, the players that they have, you were expecting to be a top, not even in the bubble, or I mean, not even in the play-in. You're expecting to be a top 6 team with that payroll and the players that you have.
And I think like you said, the Warriors have just been a disappointment this year. I know Draymond Green getting suspended was a big loss.
Yeah, that didn't help.
I mean, Klay Thompson, he's been struggling lately. Like, he's been playing really bad.
I think his contract's on his mind.
Yeah. I don't know what's on his mind, but I mean, and then Andrew Wiggins is looking like he was 5 years ago or whatever, where he had no motivation. He didn't really look like he wanted to be out there.
Do you think they blow it up?
I don't know. I don't know if they blow it up just because they still can be a playoff team.
Yeah.
Steph is still playing really well.
60 points the other night.
60 points versus Atlanta. So, but I think even that is more of a showing that we need to do something.
Yeah, because they lost that game.
Yeah.
But Steph is, 35, 36?
Yeah.
Right in there?
Yeah.
I know he's at least 35 because that's he tied with Kobe being the highest points, 35 or plus.
I will say, like, if I'm the Warriors, like, GM, I'm coming straight to Steph and be like, all right, realistically, how many more years are you going to play?
Yeah.
Because that's a big impact on what they do at this trade deadline.
Well, it's not like LeBron with him because he's had some pretty big injuries that have kept him out for a lot longer. So it's not even like, he could say, hey, I want to play 4 more years, but are all 4 of those years going to be who he is now? Because he's the best shooter in the NBA, ever in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of anything, he's definitely like the best shooter, especially a 3-point shooter. And they still have that like core that it's like, man, they could, but they're all getting older.
Yeah.
Whereas like, all right, is Klay going to kind of turn into that guy? Or, I mean, he's been there, he's getting up there as well, but I could see Klay getting traded. I could see Andrew Wiggins getting traded. I don't think Draymond Green will get traded.
Yeah,
and I don't think Steph will get traded.
Yeah.
And then Kuminga. I also don't think they're going to trade him just because there's been a lot of talk with him. Like, oh man, they need to get him more playing time and different stuff like this. And so I don't think that, and especially because he's a young guy.
Yeah.
And so I think that could be two big trade pieces, though, Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins. And those are big players like on the market. And if Klay gets traded, he could sign like an extension. That could change a team for 4 or 5 years, not even just this year.
I think if Klay gets traded, he probably gets traded to like a young team that needs like a vet, like a, I don't know, Charlotte or something. Like, I don't even know. Like,
I think he'd want to stay in Golden State.
But I was like, I don't see Klay getting traded to another playoff or contender, just because I don't think the Warriors would want that evil like coming back on them.
At least in the Western Conference.
Maybe like in the Eastern Conference, but yeah, I don't see it happening. Andrew Wiggins, though, I think is more of a possibility, just because if you trade him away, now Kuminga is a full-time starter.
Yeah.
He can start every single game for the rest of
Well, and Wiggins still has 4 years on his contract. It's 4 years, $109 million. So it's not like he's just walking after this year. So you could, and it's weird, like you said, he's kind of looking back like he was a few years ago, where there's times that he is one of the top players, and then other times it's just like,
what's going on,
what
man?
happened? You know, it's like, is it a confidence issue or what? I kind of think that's what like Klay is, and with him not getting a contract, especially with Draymond Green just getting that big contract, he's like, well, what about me? You know, it's like, hey, I was just as big of a part of all those championships as he was. Yeah. And so he's like, all right, am I not that good or something? And so I think it's getting into his head sometimes.
Even worse, like Draymond got suspended. Like, it's not that he's just like hurt or something. It's like he got suspended, and yet the Warriors are still
backing him more than Klay, it seems.
As a player, that would mess with my mind super, like,
And Draymond Green's a great defender, great all-around player. He's not scoring 20, 30 points. But he'll get 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 10 points a game. Yeah. Like he'll get right at that, which is huge. But Klay Thompson's a scorer, you know.
And especially with a shooter, like if your mind is not there, then you're missing your shots. Like it doesn't matter. If you're Klay, if you're Steph, like if your mind's not right, you're not making shots.
Not even if from other people. It's just stuff that you get in your head and you're like, oh, these people are thinking this or these. It might be different. Like I'm sure it's a little different with professional athletes because they're getting stuff from every which way,
Yeah.
But like you said, your mind can be your worst enemy just because it can really mess with you.
I mean, we see that as Denver fans with MPJ all the time, Jamal Murray. Like those are two players that they can get in their mind too much, overthink things, and
you can have 40 one night and then 2 or 3 the next night.
And missing 4 shots straight. So,
But let us know what you think about the NBA trade deadline and Super Bowl as well. Any talks on that? But NBA trade deadlines this Thursday. I'm hoping that there's 15, 20 trades. I just love it. It's just so fun to keep them.
I got one question for you. So, me and you are both Denver Nuggets fans. Do you think Denver makes any trade?
Man. It's funny because when we were talking about this, I was thinking of bringing up the Nuggets.
Yeah.
But I almost didn't want to just because, I don't know. I don't want to put juju on us,
Yeah.
I don't think we make a big trade. I just don't see it happening. The one player that I could have seen us maybe trading a big one would be MPJ. However, the way he's playing, and we've talked about this in weeks past, he's been playing great defense, great rebounding, pretty good offense, not just shooting it every time he gets the ball. And so I really don't think we're making a big trade. The one trade piece that I could see us making, but I don't think we could get that much for him, is Zeke Naji.
Yeah.
Because it's weird, because we signed him to an extension. However, he has 15 did not plays coaches' decisions.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Jordan, who's 36 or something like that, 35, 36, is averaging 12, 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas that's where Zeke Naji's minutes are going.
Yep.
And so maybe they're thinking, DeAndre's probably done after this year or another year or something. And so it's like, hey, we want to have him. But he's still only 23 years old. And like I said, he just signed an extension. I could see the Nuggets trying to get something for him. However, with those did not play coach decisions, what's the most you could really get? It's like two second rounders.
I think you'd have to, if we're trying to target a player, we'd have to target a player and then also include a pick, whether it be like a first or
which
second.
We don't have a ton of draft.
We don't have a lot of draft capital, which doesn't really it doesn't really bother me that much with just how good we are right now.
And that's the thing. If Jokic and Murray are on their games, we don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
Especially the way Aaron Gordon is playing the last 2-3 weeks. He's getting healthy. It looks like he's feeling good. I mean, he's dishing, like making passes that it reminds me of like when he was in Orlando. And he's getting rebounds. And then you got MPJ playing great. You got Caldwell Pope, KCP. He's doing great. And then the guy you talked about last week, Peyton Watson, is definitely stepping up, especially from the first month or two of the season.
Yeah.
He's definitely turning into that person where I think we thought he was going to be at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And so I really don't think the Nuggets are going to make a pick. A trade. If we do, it's going to be very...
Yeah. It's like we can't even afford that many players, too, because...
I think we're already over the tax.
Yeah.
And so I know a lot of people have said Bruce Brown, which he's...
Yeah, I love that.
He's a very big player on the trade deadline as well. I think Toronto's going to pick him or keep him, though, because just to kind of mentor some of the younger players.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to pick up his player option. I think it's a player option.
Yeah.
Might be a team.
I think it's a player.
I don't think he's going to pick that. I think he's going to go somewhere where he can win. However, I could see him staying.
Yeah.
But if we're doing that, we have to trade one of our big players.
Yeah.
There's no way that Toronto's going to take anybody else. Yep. And so that's the only person that I could see. But I just don't. The way we're playing right now, I think technically we're fourth in the West, but we've played 3 more games than the Clippers, which they're technically above us.
Actually, if you compare the Nuggets this year to where we were at this point last year, we're better.
Yeah.
So,
and it's funny because we're 0-3 against OKC this year, and I've seen a few things oh man, are we getting we should be worried about them in the playoffs. I personally don't think that's that big. They've been playing good and everything, but I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I think in a 7-game series, us versus OKC would be drastically different than a regular season game.
Exactly.
So
but like I said, let us know about what you guys think and everything. We're going to go into our game picks. Kyle already talked about his players, Caitlin Clark and Christian McCaffrey. So if you didn't hear that, go earlier in the pod, check those out. But we got 3 games this week. I almost don't even want to pick. I'm picking so bad right now. Man, Kyle's just killing it.
You'll bounce back. I'm not that far ahead of you, so.
Well, it's funny because you should be 5-1 in the last 2 weeks.
Well, I should be 6-0. Honestly.
Well, yeah, but the Celtics,
that was.
It wasn't like you picked bad there,
Yeah.
But I almost kind of convinced you to pick Baylor over K-State,
and
so I do feel a little bit bad about that. However, I'm not doing very good. I got the Nuggets versus Milwaukee. Nuggets won that one. I lost the Tennessee-Kentucky. It was a very good game.
Yeah,
I was correct that it was going to be very high scoring. I know you were thinking it was going to be more defensive, but I think it was 100 to 92. I think it was the final or something.
102 to 93, I think.
Yeah, so very high scoring. Great game, and it was very close. I think it was a 1-point game at halftime. And then the third one that we picked was the
Boston Lakers.
And I said I wanted to pick the Lakers if they were at home.
Dude, I remember texting you, and after seeing LeBron and Anthony Davis get
ruled
out.
We picked before that, too.
I was like, dude, we got an easy win tonight. And then sure
you
enough.
You texted me that, too. Yeah. You're like, oh, well, we both got that one right. And,
so I probably jinxed us.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I should have just picked the Lakers. But that was last week. This is this week. First one we're going to pick actually all Sunday, February 11th games. First one we're going to do is Sacramento Kings at the Oklahoma City Thunder. 2 good teams. Thunder are playing amazing right now. They're pretty young. I know you don't like Sacramento, but De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis are playing really well. Unfortunately, they don't really have anybody else. But those 2 guys, they're definitely playing. I think Sabonis is going to be a huge player in this one. I think that and Chet, like that matchup's going to be big.
That will be good.
Sabonis actually averages 13 rebounds per game, 3.2 offensive rebounds, which is huge. Like 3 offensive rebounds a game is big. And Chet only averages 7.6 rebounds per game. And so that could be a big difference right there, just getting some like extra things and stuff.
Yeah.
I know I got a feeling like 99% sure who you're going to pick, and I need to like catch up on some. So I'm going to pick Sacramento. I think Sabonis is actually going to get the better of Chet, just their playing styles and everything. So I'm going to pick Sacramento going into Oklahoma City and winning this one, just because I need to find somewhere to kind of catch up a little bit.
Find some difference. But yeah, you're right. I'm not going to pick Sacramento. I'm going to go with OKC here. I think they have the pieces to stop De'Aaron Fox, and I don't think Sacramento has the pieces to stop SGA.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think Sabonis and Chet, Sabonis probably wins that matchup, like you said, but this OKC team isn't winning because of Chet. He is a reason, sure, he factors in, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is playing MVP caliber, and I don't think Sacramento has anybody to stop that. So
I think that's going to be huge. I just think that Sabonis is going to get, I'm hoping that Sabonis is going to get so much more against Chet that it'll offset.
I mean, it could.
But we'll see. I don't know. Next one, CU girls back playing against Oregon State. They just lost to them on January 26, 68-62. This will be a top 25 matchup. Yep. The matchup or the rankings haven't came out this next week. Both of them will be in the top 25. CU, there's a very good chance that they're back in the top 5. K-State lost the other night. They also lost today. And so I think this is going to be a huge one. It's in CU this time, or at CU this time, before it was Oregon State. You want me to go first on this one?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I don't even have to look at this game. I'm going to back CU. Home team, CU fan. I think they're going to win.
Yeah, and I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go with CU girls as well. Reagan Beers for Oregon State. She's a stud. She averages almost 19 points a game, 11 rebounds. She's shooting about 68% field goal percentage, which is 3rd in the nation. So they definitely have to try to stop her. Yeah. Jalen Sherrod had a pretty good game last time against them. She scored 19 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. However, I think she needs to have another game like that, and then you got to have Vonleh, Foreman, and Miller, the next big 3. They got to have a big game to get this. I think it's going to be a close one again. I think it's going to be less than 10 points. However, CU being at home, especially the last few home games that CU's played, they've been sold out. Yep. Huge, great atmosphere up there, and so I think CU is going to take this one as well.
Love it.
Third game we got to pick Super Bowl. Big one. We've talked about the Super Bowl big time earlier. 49ers, Chiefs. Who you got?
I'm gonna go. This one is so tough for me, just because.
Same, man. I keep flipping in my head the whole time.
I wanna pick the 49ers, but I keep on thinking, man, can't count out the Chiefs. But I think I'm gonna stick with the 49ers. I think as long as the 49ers actually do try to run the ball, something that Baltimore didn't really do, I think the 49ers can win. But it's going to take everything they got, man.
It's one game,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you've done all season, it's one game.
Yep.
And that's why March Madness is so much fun, because it's one game. It does not matter what you are. And all I have to say about this game, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to stop him. Chiefs, hey, they've won a lot of Super Bowls for a reason the last few years, and they have a lot of those same guys. However, I'm going to go 49ers as well. I just think Christian McCaffrey's a little too much for them, especially if Purdy can take care of the ball. I think they can do it.
Yeah, man, I hope we're right. I feel good about these picks. I think we both made some really good points, but...
Come on, Kings.
Yeah.
Give me a win.
Try to get...
I need to get back up on that horse, but... that's all we got today, and I hope you guys liked it. Next week, we'll probably end up taking off. We're going to try to do a few different things, so keep an eye out for that. However, just with the Super Bowl, we don't want to interfere with that. I know everybody's going to be excited about that, but we'll probably end up trying to do a couple of different things. So keep an eye out on Instagram and YouTube for sure on those.
Yeah.
But let us know how you did, or how we did, not you. Let us know how we did and how we can get better.
Yeah, really appreciate you guys listening. Can't wait for the next ones. But
All right, that's all we got. We'll see you later, alligators.
peace.
Peace.